Later, Zed and Ryu gets into a restaurant. They sit there and Ryu is starving. He tells Zed not to get on the bad side of Herna, as on the surface she just looks like a arena manager, but in reality, she is the hidden power behind this city. Zed tells Ryu that to him, Herna looks like a old fox obsessed with money. Ryu, yes, you get that right. Herna's nickname is Old Fox. Zed gets that Herna has reached him so that she can use him to earn profit. It was the same when he first stepped into the world of combat sports. The moment he started making a name for himself, all sorts of management agencies came knocking on his door. Most of them saw his talent as nothing more than a tool for profit. He even got scammed multiple times. Back then, he was just a knave kid from the countryside, brimming with dreams. However, meeting his current manager was a stroke of luck. After all, it was thanks to him that Zed became a champion. Zed is no longer that clueless country boy, easy prey for opportunists. He is a fighter who's endured countless battles and clawed his way to the top, a champion. As Zed is thinking this at that time, the birdie beefsteak they orders has been served. Ryu can't hold himself and starts to dig in. Zed stops him and says that the meat is fake. The color and marbling is completely off. Zed's suspicion gets clear when he recalls that the warden at the detention center needed a whole week to get his hands on this. So how come it is readily available in the next city? Birdie beef is very expensive and incredibly rare, so there is no way they could serve these many customers. Ryu tells him to leave. Everything has the same taste when it's in the stomach. Zed don't want to let it go as paying for birdie beef and getting is fake as a scam. Zed calls the waiter. The waiter comes with an attitude. He tells Zed to stop wasting their time and finish eating. Zed tells him that this isn't the thing he ordered. He specifically ordered birdie beef. Huh? Do you even know where you are? That kind of nonsense might work out on the streets, but not here. The waiter says this. Zed tells him to stop and get the owner. This punk has no fear, the waiter says. As the waiter says this, Zed starts to shouts that attracts the attention of the other customers. To handle the situation, the waiter tells him to quiet and follow him. The waiter takes them to the boss. Ryu and Zed gets into a room full of men with cleavers in their hand. The boss of the restaurant is sitting in the middle. So, you're the punky-ass brats causing trouble? The boss says. Zed replies that they are the punk ass. As they are selling counterfeit meat, the boss tells him that he should know how to read the room. I don't care about reading the room. What I do care about is how blind you are to the situation. If you pick a fight with me, which one of us do you think will end up dead? Zed says. Hearing this, the men rush to attack. Zed starts to knock out them one by one. One punch from him is enough to make the men unconscious. Within seconds, he defeated the 4 men. He slams the last one on the ground. The boss is scared to see this. Ryu cheers and says that you don't know with whom you picked a fight with. This is the man who beat Ikas with bare hands. The boss then asked what they wants from him. Zed gets closer and says he has two conditions. First, he has to return the money they took from him. And second, from now on, they will cover the cost of every beef meal he eat here, at the price of vertigrade beef. The boss has no choice, so he accepted it. Later at night, Zed and Ryu gets to a nice inn. Ryu is happy to see how soft the bed is. He looks at Zed and says that he is impressive. They talk about the red face of the restaurant owner, and after a while, the two of them fell asleep. In the midnight, Ryu suddenly gets up, and he slowly calls for Zed. As Zed didn't respond, Ryu dressed up and gets out of the room. Zed noticed it, but he didn't speak about it. Few days has passed. They are leaving in the city. In the morning, Ryu and Zed wakes up and Zed starts his daily workout. Ryu asked him that why is he working so hard as usually mages don't work out. He asked if he is doing this because he has no mana. Zed tries to avoid it, saying that's something like that. Zed then looks at his status window and sees that his mana is 0. Even though he work out a lot, but his mana score didn't change a bit. As the training is over, Zed feels hunger, so he tells Ryu to get ready as they will go to eat. Ryu asked where they will go. Zed says that they will go to the beef restaurant Tody, as it's been a while they visited there. They hadn't gone back to the steakhouse for 3 days. The reason was simple. Even extortion has its limits, and they didn't want to push their luck. More importantly, they had already devoured 10 servings on the first day, so money wasn't an issue. While walking, Zed asked Ryu how much gold they have. Ryu says that they don't have much as the prices of the city is high. Zed finds this fishy as he has already played this game for 10 years and he knows the market price, and spending 50 gold in few days means they have to throw away money. At that moment, Zed didn't ask Ryu anything about this, and he wants to find out what Ryu is doing behind his back. As they arrived at the restaurant, the waiter quickly informs the owner about it. The man tells the waiter to give them that he had prepared before. The waiter politely guides Zed and Ryu to a private room. The meat is already served on the table. Zed finds a bit strange, as the waiter's attitude is so friendly toady. He scanned the place as they entered, but he didn't find any signs of assassination. Everything seems normal as usual. Ryu then takes the meat and tells Zed that it's specially made and wrapped with some herbs. He tells Zed to quickly dig in. Zed then takes a meat, and as he is about to bite it, he shouts and tells Ryu to stop eating. Hearing this, Ryu starts to vomit and asks Zed if he is going. "You'll die." Zed tells him not to worry, as this small amount of poison won't affect at all. Zed now gets that owner is planning, due to Zed's S-guard trait, absolute poison resistance, he is not affected at all. This trait is obtained upon consuming all types of poison in the Empire. When Zed played this game, he suffered a lot to gain this amazing trait. Ryu then asked Zed that how did he find that it is poison as it had no taste and smell. Zed replies that he is arahant, that why he knows that. Ryu then suggests that they should run away as the owner is trying to kill them. Zed say that they won't run, rather they will make them pay. After that, Zed called the owner to come to him. As the boss come, he shouts at Zed and tells him to just eat all the meat quickly and not to boss people around. Zed gives a sinister smile and says, "I just called you to clear up some misunderstandings. There are a few things I want to ask." Seeing the plates clean, the owner thinks that Zed and Ryu has eaten all the meat. He is happy to think that the poison will kick in soon. He acts cocky and says, "What misunderstanding? You're just a bunch of thugs who threaten people and steal their money." Zed tells him that he misunderstood him and tells the owner to share a meal with him so that all the ill relationship between them is gone. Ryu then brings a wrapped meat and tells the owner to eat it. The man seems nervous and asked why is he giving this to him. Zed tells him that he is offering this as a gesture of reconciliation, and if he accepts it, he'll remove the second condition from last time. The owner says that he has no intention of making peace with bastards like them. That's strange. Do you actually want to keep getting extorted, or do you have another reason for not eating? Like, if the meat was poisoned? Zed says this. Hearing this, the man startles and says, "What nonsense are you spouting?" Zed then pushed away the table and shows all the meat is on the ground. Seeing this, many thoughts come of the man's mind. He wonders how did Zed find out it was poisoned. Zed then asks the man that how dare he poisoned his food. The boss clams himself down and he tells Zed to prove that the meat was poisoned. Zed tells him that he has proof, and saying this, he reveals his red eyes. The man immediately recognizes that this is arahant eyes and fall on the ground out of fear. Zed threatens that man that he will die for deceiving an arahant. The man gets terrified he don't know what to do. He kneels down and begs Zed to forgive him. He tells Zed that his name is Jamp and admits that he has done wrong with him and begs for his forgiveness. Why would a Western arahant come all the way to this rural part of the South? Why didn't he reveal his identity from the start? Why did he act like a lowly wanderer? Jamp was so consumed by fear that he couldn't even form these natural doubts. And as Zed watched Jamp who was crying like a child and begging for mercy. He once again realized the overwhelming power an Arahant held. Zed then tells Jamp that he will forgive him if he agrees this two conditions. First, he can't reveal Zed's identity to anyone, and second, he will hand over half of his wealth. The man agrees and tells Zed that he will give him the money right away. Jamp then goes to bring the money. At that time, Lady Herna enters the room and tells Zed that he turned out to be quite an impressive person. Hearing this, Zed wonders if Herna knows that he is Arahant, or if Jamp told her about him in this short period of time. But seeing Jamp's terrified face, Zed gets that Jamp won't tells about him. So Tyr is only one place from where Herna got information about him. Zed gets that he can't stay here longer as the warden will be here at any time. After that, Herna suggests that they should talk in private. Zed agrees, and the three of them sits on a table. Zed asked her why is she looking for him and if she has some business with him. Herna says that she is not here to meet with him. Rather, she is here to meet with his client. Hearing this, Zed gets that Ryu is the client she is talking about. As Zed looks at Ryu lowers his head and apologizes to Zed for hiding this from him. Herna then tells Ryu that she looked up at that request, but she needs more money for that. "What? No, this wasn't the deal. Do you know how much I already paid you?" Ryu says. "That amount barely covers my daily meal expenses. Do you think finding your missing sibling is an easy task? Someone whose whereabouts, life or death is completely unknown." Haran says this to Ryu. Hearing this, Ryu breaks up and starts to cry. He says how could she do this as this is his last hope? Zed interrupts and tells Herna that if she accepts Ryu's request, he will accept her. Haran agrees and tells Zed that he has to fight Ikas one more time. Zed accepts the rematch and tells her to proceed with Ryu's request. After that, the meeting ends, and Ryu and Zed starts to walk towards the inn they are staying. Ryu is looking down, so Zed asked him why he is so down, as now they have lots of money. Ryu says sorry to Zed for stealing the money and not telling him about this matter. He also says that he never intend to betray Zed. Zed tells him that he knows from the starts that he pocketed some extra money, but he was unaware of the dealing he had done with Herna. "Then why did you pretend not to know?" Ryu asked. "Because I didn't care. I figured the help you gave me was worth at least that much, but we can't let this happen again. From now on, don't hide anything, just tell me everything. The worst thing in this world is repaying trust with betrayal. No matter how rough your background is, don't become trash." Zed says this to Ryu. Ryu says that he understands it after a while. Ryu tells Zed not to do the rematch, they will just run with his money. Hearing this, Zed asked what about his request regarding his siblings. Ryu tells that he don't think Herna will proceed with his request, she will just backstab them. Ryu wasn't foolish enough to be scammed by someone like Herna. But the fact that he still went to her showed how desperate he was. Because he was so desperate, Knee grabbed onto a rotten rope, even knowing it might snap. And Herna was the kind of adult who would betray a desperate child. Zed tells Ryu that he know that about Herna, and he was planning to leave, but he changed his mind. Ryu tries to convince him to leave, as the rematch is a trap for Zed. Zed don't want to run away. He tells Ryu that when he sees trash, he wants to clean it, and defeating an opponent who has given their all is the most exhilarating feeling. At the same time, in the Carrion Detention Center. The officers are in rush. The director tells them to assemble quickly and move out, starting with the vanguard. The director is furious as he wants to catch Zed Arahant at all cost. 3 days later, at the underground arena, Ikas and Zed are ready to fight. The seats are all filled and people are cheering for Ikas. Ikas seems quite confident, and Zed wonders the reason behind it. Ryu is worried, and he tells Zed to promise that if things gets out of his way, he will surrender immediately. At last, the match begins. 2 of them stands in front of each other. The audience is surprised to see the new stance of Ikas. Ikas is copying Zed. Herna told Ikas about Zed being an Arahant with no mana. This gives Ikas more confidence. He is the one to make the first move. Ikas' attacks are like Zed's. After seeing Zed's techniques from the last match, Ikas practiced them, and now he gets how useful Zed's techniques are. This also surprised Zed a bit, as he didn't expected this. Zed successfully dodged all the attacks. His eyes caught on the belt that Ikas is wearing. After that, Zed sees a gap and punched Ikas on the face. Ikas is unharmed. He laughs at Zed, saying that he is a weakling without any mana. Zed finds Ikas' toughness a bit unusual. Some people in the audience also find something is strange. Zed thinks about it, and he gets that this toughness is coming from the belt Ikas is wearing. The belt is an item name, Orge's belt. It negates 90% of only physical damage completely. For a person with no mana, this is the most difficult opponent. Ryu gets worried seeing that Zed's attacks have no effect, no Ikas. Ryu tells Zed that Herna has done something and he requests to leave the match. Zed looks at Ryu and tells him to just sit back and watch. Seeing Zed standing still, Ikas asks if he is sacred and is willing to give up. Zed replies no way. He says that he is a little surprised, but he was waiting for this moment. Saying this, Zed changed his stance and launched a kick and hit Ikas. Ikas gets a concussion and he is unable to do anything. Zed continues his kicks and pushed back Ikas. Zed is enjoying this. The strongest man on earth, Man Kim Jin Ho, aka Zed. Right now, for the first time, he felt true excitement. No one had ever lasted more than a minute against him. Because of that, he never even had a chance to fully use his skills. But look at Ikas, even after all those kicks, he's still standing. For Zed, or rather, Kim Jin Ho, this was a first. Zed is about to launch a high kick, seeing his Ikas guards his face. Zed changes the trajectory in the midway and hits the ribs. This makes Ikas lower his hand. As his face is unguarded, Zed kicks on the face followed by a kick in the stomach. Ikas' face turns red in pain. Zed continues to kick and Ikas is on the verge of fainting. Ikas' full body is covered in bruise. He can't predict the attacks of Zed at all. Zed gets so hyped up that his contact lens are slowly changing colors. Ikas wants to forfeit, but Zed didn't let his say this. He strikes on Ikas' chin with his knee. The crowd gets silent seeing this one-way beating. Zed kicks the belt and breaks it. As the belt breaks, the pain in the Ikas' body amplifies and he falls in his knees. Zed looks at him and says, "What's wrong? Aren't you getting up?" Ikas is scared, and he thinks Zed is crazy. Ikas tells that he lost, and he calls for the referee to call off the match. But Zed stomps on his face and says, "No, that's not enough." At that time, Zed's lens fall off, revealing his red eyes. Seeing this, Ikas passed out. Zed feels a weird sensation like some kind of power forming in his heart. The power starts to move through his body. At that time, he looks at the status window and sees that his mana value has increased to 1. Now finally obtaining mana, Zed feels happy. By this time, the audience finds that Zed is from the Arahant family, and they stood there silently. Zed don't why they are behaving strangely. Ryu gets on the ring and tells Zed that his lens has fallen and his red eyes are revealed. The audience starts to panic and rushed out of the stadium. Zed and Ryu also starts to run away as the guards will be there in no time. Herna is the only one sitting. She is frustrated to see this crushing defeat. She then gets up with the resolve to finish Zed. Herna has lost so much money because of Zed. Ikas is a top-class player who was brought in from a big city for a large sum of money. The contract fee was 600 gold coins for 3 years. But because of this incident, all that money is now completely lost. In addition, the ogre's belt was 200 gold coins, and 200 gold coins went to the Carrion camp director, making the total amount lost 2,000 gold coins. This loss is too much for Herna. She screams like a madman and says that she will make Zed pay for it. In the meantime, Zed and Ryu takes all the money and buy lenses for Zed and are hiding in the alley. The village is already swarming with guards. There is no escape for them, so Zed and Ryu hides themselves in buckets. After a while, as the guards passed by, Ryu gets out to see the situation. As he is about to get out, their way is blocked by a carriage. The henchman tells Zed and Ryu that Lady Herna has sent him. He tells them to get in, and he will take them to a safe spot where Herna is waiting for them. Seeing no other way, them gets inside. Ryu asks Zed if it's okay for them to go. Zed replies that it is 100% a trap. Ryu questioned that, then why did they get on? Zed tells him that there is no way out for them, so they have to encounter this to resolve this problem. Ryu is scared and says that they are going to die toady. After a while, the carriage stops as they get out. They are surrounded by the guards. Herna is also there. She is standing beside the warden. The warden asks them, how did they manage to escape? The two of ignores and Ryu asks Zed, what will they do now? The warden gets angry and asks how dare he stole the key from him. Herna smiles and tells Zed that this situation won't arise if he had just joined hands with her. Zed tells her that never work with her in a million years as he don't plan to die obediently. The warden then steps forward and tells Zed that he will die toady. Zed tells Ryu to stay back and moves towards the warden. The warden praises Zed's braveness. Zed then tells that the percentage to winning is 50-50, a 50% chance of winning. This is Zed's own spell that keeps him from being intimidated when facing the strong and part of not letting his guard down. Even if the warden is a knight of the fifth circle, if the probability here is still half-half, then there is no need for Zed to be scared. The warden unsheathes his sword and starts to radiate aura. Zed also takes his flight stance. Warden moves first. He rushed with his sword to attack. Zed finds this moment quite thrilling. This reminds him about the past when he was a challenger. His S-rank trait challenger of strong will actives. This increases all his states by 10 for a short period of time. As Zed's mana increased, the lenses in his eyes breaks apart, revealing the red eyes. As the warden's strike lands, it creates a huge explosion. Seeing this, Ryu gets worried about Zed. Warden is a bit confused as Zed is not there. The strike hits the ground and cuts it. Zed then calls the warden's name, Clark. I am here. Zed is flying in the air and thunder is covering his body. He acquires a new form, called electrification. Clark is startled to see this. Zed then launched kick, and the warden blocks it with his sword. Zed's strength overpowers Clark and pushes him back. Warden Clark is surprised. He asks Zed how this is possible, how he awakened the thunder power. Thunder is a special power that can ignore all four elements of water, wind, earth, and fire. It is the power all magicians long for. It's the only power that even the legendary first head of the Arahant family couldn't obtain. Seeing this, all the guards along with Herna get surprised. Ryu is in awe seeing the power of Zed. Clark thinks that this is the power of the bloodline, and he is person who despise those who only relies on the power of the bloodline. Seeing this, he gets angrier. Clark then starts to attack vigorously. His attacks are power and destroying the surrounding. Zed's agility is above Clark, so he dodges all the attacks swiftly. Seeing this, Clark increases his speed and finally caught Zed. But Zed's body is protected with his shield. Now, Zed makes his move and rushed to attack. He punched directly in the stomach. This turns Clark's face red, and he screams his pain.